Say you have an anxious attachment style and you find yourself getting really preoccupied with what a man is doing, checking your phone, feeling like whenever a pattern breaks in the connection or that you're trying to build, that maybe you're being left or he's no longer interested. Maybe you really want the relationship to move way faster than it is moving, and he feels slow, and he's feeling slow in asking you on a date, and he's feeling slow in asking you to be his girlfriend, and you find yourself feeling like you want to push the relationship forward. You find yourself super anxious when you don't hear from him, or super anxious when he goes out, and you are starting to feel like a slave in this relationship, slave to emotion, burdened by them. It is horrific. It is horrible to be so preoccupied with another human being, so much so that you can't even smile, you can't be happy. I remember one of my bosses, before I became who I am, before I started helping all these thousands of women heal their hearts and create healthy love lives, and this was many years ago. I had a manager, and she would come to work, we were makeup artists at the time, and she had met this guy, and she was so excited. She was on top of the world. Oh my God, so exciting. That had a wonderful time, and probably a wonderful night too, wink, wink. And the next day she would come to work, and she was miserable. And I was like, what is wrong with you? She was a really lovely girl. She always had a really good manner about her, or around her. And I just couldn't understand what was going on at the time. And then at one of the days, he eventually called her, and she was flying. She was so excited. She was happy again. And at the time, I thought it was really bizarre. But now that I have been doing this for over a decade, I've come to realize that she actually had an anxious attachment style. It is so painful when you have an anxious attachment style, because another person is running remote control on your feelings, and you feel completely powerless and at the mercy of that person to give you relief. You start to see that person as the person who can relieve you, who can save you almost. And this is what we need to heal, because it is not how God would have us attached. God wants us so securely attached, first to him and to each other and to our loving partners. And so how do we go from being this anxious wreck to being this regulated, secure woman that just feels so safe and so at home in her body, regardless of how a man is moving in her life? I know about this firsthand, because just as I did not know that my boss had an anxious attachment style, I didn't know that I had an anxious attachment style. That's why I'm so able to recognize it when I see it, because for much of my life, I was an anxiously attached woman, imprisoned in the behavior of the man that I was dating, desperate to be chosen, desperate to be the woman that he would ultimately choose. And it was hard, and it was painful. The problem with being an anxiously attached person is 99.9% of the time, anxiously attached women don't vet the men they are attached to. They tend to attach based on how much attention they are getting. An anxious attachment style, in fact, an insecure attachment style. Anything other than a secure attachment style, whether you are disorganized, or whether you are fearful of when, or anxious, preoccupied, or any of the variations of the attachment styles that is not insecure, that is not secure, always is rooted in trauma. I was raised in a family of 7 plus cousins plus people. My home was always full. Everybody was important, and interestingly, nobody was important. There were so many of us that we all mattered, and we knew we mattered, but none of us mattered as an individual. And so I grew up very much knowing I was loved, knowing that I mattered, but never feeling loved and never feeling like I mattered. And so I spent a lot of time on my own, just observing the world and feeling safe by myself, because I could count on me to always be there. I could count on me to always see myself. I could count on me to be aware of me, but I could never count on anyone else in my family doing that. And so I didn't know that I had developed this need to cling to anyone who would show me special type of attention, the kind of attention that was just for me. And so, of course, I would find it in a cousin or in a neighbor or in somebody I probably shouldn't have been finding attention in. And so this is how, when we have this neglect trauma, when we have abandonment trauma, when we've been abandoned or neglected, we tend to carry into the world this feeling that we are not seen, that we don't matter. And so anyone, when we're at work, we feel like we're part of the workforce. When we're in a friendship group, we feel like part of the friendship. We always feel a part of a bigger mechanism. But in romantic relationships, when we meet that man and he wants to talk to us, he wants to talk to you, to me, he wants to give his undivided attention, even if it's just in a minute, to me, to make me feel beautiful, to make me feel seen. What am I going to do about it? Naturally, I am going to value that man over and above anything else. I am going to finally feed that part of me that has been starved and keeps getting starved over and over and over again, because I keep becoming part of a whole and never a individual. So if you find yourself being clingy and you're like, I didn't even think he was cute, I didn't even like him, I didn't even think he was worth a catch, but why can't I get him off my mind? What you're actually hooked on is that attention. And even if you're an avoidant person, you still want to feel seen. It's just that when you feel seen, it feels scary, and so you run away. If you're disorganized, you want and crave that attention, but then when that attention feels like it might be threatened, you are going to end it. You're going to jeopardize or sabotage that connection so you don't have to relive that abandonment or that neglect over again. And so you create this cycle of closeness and then creating sabotage patterns so that you can control the distance. The way to heal your attachment style is not just by behaving opposite, because behavior does change our psychology. When we start to behave differently, when we start to choose to behave differently, our psychology also adjusts. We start to also find ourselves, our brain needing to change. So that's one very important part. Asking ourselves, if I were secure in this moment, how would I behave? How would I think? And how would I feel? How would a secure person feel? If I felt secure, if I felt like I'm good, I'm complete, I am seen, I'm known, I'm heard, and this person is not here, I'm not even going to put that much weight on it. I'm just going to assume they're busy. They have a life that keeps them busy, and when they're not busy, they'll come to me, or they're doing their thing and it has nothing to do with me because I am complete. Am I going to keep checking my phone? Am I going to keep looking through their Instagram or their socials to see what they're up to? And oh my goodness, this man has not posted me, and he has posted 20 posts today, and he was out last night, and he's doing all these things because I'm monitoring him. Because if I'm secure, I'm monitoring my life, I'm running my life, I'm creating these things. So behaving as though you are secure allows the brain to begin to change itself. However, it is going to be an uphill struggle to change how you behave when you have a wound that still bleeds. So this is why I had one of the girls in the House of Swans, and I was, doing my mama's one thing and telling the girls off, as I sometimes do. And one of the girls who had been watching the replay said, Chengi, I saw you talking about the work. I don't know what the work is. Is it a course? Is it what is the work? What is the work I have to do? Because I feel like I need to do the work. I had women coming to my Instagram and saying, I saw your YouTube video and you were talking about doing the work. I really feel like I need to do the work. And then I realized that I've never, not enough spoken about the work that needs to be done. The work that needs to be done is the work of going into our love blueprint, looking at how love was done in our families, how we receive love, how we internalize love, the thing that we call love, what love looks like for us, despite what we want it to feel like, despite what we are actually looking for. What is the blueprint that we have for love? What is the future of the love that we actually crave? Can we pin it down to the love that we actually crave? And what are the stories that we have built around our narrative on love, our definition on love, our blueprint of love is often held up by a series of stories that we tell ourselves. And all of these stories and beliefs about love and blueprints about love live in the unconscious mind. And so it takes an expert to go into those parts of the unconscious mind and draw out the stories and draw out the unconscious beliefs, and then bring them into the conscious conscious mind so that the conscious mind can begin to process. Because even though the subconscious mind is 30,000 times stronger and more powerful than the conscious mind, one thing the conscious mind has is the power to change, to shift, to manipulate, and to change everything. So whilst the unconscious mind does nothing but store blueprints, stories, beliefs that undergird our behavior, our emotions, and how we show up in the world, how we perceive the world, and how the world perceives us, even though that is run in a place where we have no awareness. Once it becomes aware through the help of an expert coach, an expert therapist, and it comes to awareness, a set of tools and systems begin to happen, and the brain can begin to change itself. And we can begin to replace the stories you have that underpin, that are unconscious, that you're unaware of. You're sitting here watching this video and you're completely unaware of the stories that make up your anxious attachment style. You're completely unaware of the stories that make up your avoidant attachment styles. And so I have created the Soulmate Attraction System course, and I am building it up even more to be mega amazing. And there will be an opportunity for you ladies to join this amazing top-notch group that's going to take you from point A to point B. And baby, it's not just going to heal your attachment style. It's going to get you from being the girl that has no idea to being the girl that knows how to date in such a way that you will only ever be with top men. You're only ever going to be with the creme de la creme of men. Because women who go through my program come out on the other side absolutely evolved, completely different. Because men of high quality, high caliber, high status are not looking for a pretty face. They're looking for a certain type of woman. They're looking for a certain caliber of woman who has a certain kind of energetic field. And this is what I want you to understand. The Black Swan Relationship Academy isn't just a place where you get the best strategies. The Black Swan Relationship Academy is the place and space where you transform and evolve into your goddess nature. You are made in the image and likeness of God. And once you start radiating that kind of energy, you cannot stop the blessing. I have always attracted men who are high net worth, really wealthy men, and younger men. It is what it is. That's because I became timeless. You see, when you become the woman who's worked on herself, when you become the woman who has built herself up from within and evolved, your energy signature does nothing but call in high quality people, high quality friendships, high quality men. Because it is a vibrational frequency that cannot be denied, refused, a vibrational frequency that signals its value and its worth before you open your mouth. And so I have created a system that will allow all of you, every single one of you watching this, to start today, to join this amazing system and begin to build your life and heal your attachment style. And if this is not something that you want to do, this is something that you can do with a trauma counselor, a trauma therapist that will help you deal with that particular trauma. But what makes us so special is that we are going to help you deal with it within the context of your relationships. Your relationships are life. Once you master relationships, you've mastered business. You've mastered everything that pertains to life. And so we will not only just help you heal, but we're going to help you heal within the context of creating quality relationships, especially with quality men. I hope that this video was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one. In the meantime, do take care of you. Bye.